Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast, episode number 108. A talk with MERRILL Sport, president of the Hunt Channel, part 2. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level. Welcome back to the show. This is Jay Scott, your host of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. Welcome to part 2 with our talk with MERRILL Sport, the president of the Hunt Channel, and let's get right into the conversation. Let's say you're doing fairly well on the Hunt Channel. Let's say I've got a show and you've moved me to the PM slot. But then I come to you and I say, I want to go to larger viewership. And you say, let's go to the Pursuit channel. You can do that because of your connections over there? Is that how that works?
Well, we have a good relationship with Pursuit. I would tell them, I say, well, if you want to go to the Pursuit channel, then Pursuit channel's already got a fish channel too. So you're not going to need, if you want to go to Pursuit, then I would recommend you go to Pursuit and run on their network for their 40 million homes. But then I would say, well, you ought to drop back with me and stay with me on the digital. Now, you have $75 a week to their cost, and I'm going to put you out there at $15 million and give you website backup.
Okay. Gotcha.
I would do, listen, I'm not going to ask any producer to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. In other words, I know that's a good deal for me. If they're doing well enough to leave us and go to Pursuit, they ought to leave $75 a week behind, less than $1,000 a quarter behind, and now they got 15 million plus with website support and video on demand. They still got that in the bank in their portfolio, and that's what their advertising and their sponsorship rates are all based on, how many eyeballs they can get. It's all about the dollar.
Okay.
That's what we always say down here. They say, follow the dollar. Follow the dollar, you know?
Right. Gotcha.
That's what it's all about. And that's what I try to do. And that's what I try to, when they ask me for advice, that's what I tell them.
Okay. So
I can't spend your money for you. I'm not going to spend your money for you. But if I had this much money, this is what I would do.
Gotcha. So who are you looking for right now as the producer of the Hunt Channel? Who are you? Who's your customer? Who are you trying to have?
Right now, this minute,
yeah,
we're waiting for third and fourth quarter this year to play out.
Okay.
And we'll be at the ICAST, which is a large fishing tackle show, the end of July down here when people start. This business operates about 6 months in advance. It's when the rumors and everything starts, and people start trying to get their contracts. And probably by I'm going to say, you start getting toward the end of September and getting into October, people are going to start getting real nervous if they haven't been able to secure airtimes or contracts or something they can afford, or even find out if they're even going to be able to participate on the larger networks. So we're eyeballing right now. We're watching to see what the rates are going to with the downsides of outdoor programming from the Outdoor Channel to Sportsman. It's going to be full, and some of those guys are going to roll off some people on Pursuit. They can pay higher rates because it's supply and demand. I mean, Pursuit's not going to run somebody for $1,900 a week if somebody else will pay them $3,000 for the same spot.
Right.
I mean, they've got obligations to their investors as well,
Right.
There's exceptions to the rule. If there's any exceptions, I'm sure Mossy Oak has an opportunity to fulfill those exceptions with some of their licensees and all.
Okay.
But for the most part, that's what we're doing now. We're just sitting around like a vulture. We always work Facebook, YouTube, send emails out. We just work the grassroots, on a daily basis with social media and put our programs out there and tell them, what we offer. And then the ones that get interested, they call us back. So it's just like throwing a lot of stuff at the wall,
Okay.
But right now, we're sitting there like the big vulture because we know the shakedown's coming.
Gotcha.
And we would like to pick up, 10 or 15 of those better quality shows for our prime time lineup.
Gotcha. So you're just kind of waiting for some of the fallout to come that are the better shows that have experience.
Fallout to come. It's all going to flow down from the Outdoor Channel.
Okay.
Through Sportsman.
And then you're constantly doing a grassroots farming efforts, trying to find new shows to put on through
That's right.
digital. Okay.
Because we have our AM market, that's additional, and it's an upgrade from our digital, but we're always farming, or especially this year we've been farming. That's what we're farming now, trying to educate and get people in the business. The biggest problem we have is editing. Editing is very unique to this business. That's telling the story, and then you have to match music, and sometimes you do no voice, and then you have to lay voiceover track. It's a sad day, and I hate to say it. That's why if we had the time, I'd love to, and I'm looking at this as well, having an editing group of people that can come in here for $500 or $600 a week and edit shows for some of these entry-level people, because it's sad when you can buy airtime to be in 15 million homes for $75 a week, but editing costs you $1,000.
Right.
You see what the problem is?
Right.
There's not enough entry-level pressure, so everything's all on the same playing field. But editing is going to start at $1,000 and go up to $4,000, $5,000. You see, and that's really tough. That's our number one obstacle right now.
Okay.
Is we have people that start with us and run out of money and run out of shows because they can't afford the editing.
What if you started almost like a classroom type environment where you taught?
Well,
them?
That's what we're doing. I've actually brought my daughter in here to professional photography, and got her Final Cut Pro, and she's going to start working on it. And I got a good friend that's over the TV department over at Troy University.
Yep.
So, I'm thinking about trying to do some kind of intern. I don't have time to get in the middle of that and buy and sell and market that, but I need to work out some way. Those people need work over there. It's a resume, it's an intern position. They need to work, to make spending money rather than having to work at McDonald's.
Right.
They would love to be practicing their trade for spending money.
Right. It's almost like a
thing. When I tell you I can put you on my digital platform and it's $975 for 13 weeks, and you can be on the air with me for 13 weeks, but it costs you $1,000 to get a show edited. Somewhere you can see the scales aren't balanced there.
Right.
We've got to fight. That's, like I said, that's our Achilles heel right now. We have a lot of good shows with good footage, and they could be real good, but bless their hearts, they run out of money because they'll have 4, 5, 6 weeks of good shows, and they have to quit or they get themselves in trouble because they spent $5,000 or $6,000 editing on editors, and that's not. I mean, I'm not saying editing. There's a lot of things that we try to teach these people on how to keep the editing costs down. The biggest cost in editing is how much time a fellow's got to look through the footage. If you take somebody a camera and you've been watching every firefly ride by for 10 minutes, you take a fella 3 hours of footage to go through,
right,
for him to pick out 22 and a half minutes and put it together with music, well, you're just asking for a $2,000 editing deal.
Right. So it's almost like you need to have a 13-week course just to teach people how to edit better.
Well, I tell them the truth. When they ask me, I tell them the truth. I said, if you want your editing costs down, then you better figure out if you don't do nothing else, learn how to do nothing else. You better learn how to, if your camera has got on it and you sat there and you shot 2 hours worth, you better figure out how you can just erase it. If you don't do nothing but just erase it,
Right.
But you don't need to give that editor over 45 minutes, at the most an hour, if you want to keep a reasonable price editing, because, if they get tired, they're going to quit fooling with a lot of extra bells and whistles that's going to make the show done.
Right.
People just ain't going to watch 3 hours of fireflies, and just sunsets and shadows. You trying to, people sometimes get out there and they just let the camera roll. Well, if the cameraman is the editor, that's a good deal for you, because he's going to he'll almost tell the story for you. And that's why good cameramen are hard to find. The experienced people, they understand that, and the new people don't. So we always tell them, listen, don't get trigger happy when you get your new camera. You know how we all have our first babies, and good gosh, if they rolled over this way and rolled over that way, it was a 45-minute video on the first child, and the second baby we got 2 hours of footage, and we got 20 on the first baby.
Yep.
That's the way a lot of these guys are with these video cameras. They go out and buy them a new camera, and buddy, they want to come home and show the wife the beautiful sunset and the woods and the rabbit hopping, and well, that's about as far as it better go for your wife and kids. Because you send that to an editor, it's going to cost you dearly to get that edited because he's going to be cutting that left and right.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with telling the story for that kill shot.
Oh, that's funny.
You know?
Merrill, could you just, that was, I mean, it's such an interesting description of the outdoor TV industry, and it's fabulous. And I wanted to, before we talked a little bit yesterday, and I asked you to think of a great deer hunting story. And you said you had one in mind.
Nobody believes.
Yes. Would you mind telling that story for us?
Sure. It won't take long. It's not going to win me a camouflage or scent sponsorship, I can tell you that.
Okay.
Of course, I never try to go. I don't get to go that much like I want to, but I got so much knowledge in the industry and so many friends that, you know, I feel like I'm a great white hunter, you know, because I can stand in the circle and talk the talk with you, you know, which I feel like that's what a lot of people watching TV are trying to learn from TV so they can stand around the show and not be the dummy in the group, you know.
Right.
And try to learn stuff from the internet and stuff in the privacy of their home. But my first big buck, it was about 225. It was only a 7-point because it's really almost a perfect 6. 225. I killed him probably 30 years ago, and never, because I've always hunted locally. I've been blessed. I have these producers all the time think I'm imported or something, and they invite me to go with them. Say, man, come go do this, man. Come go do this show with me, man. Come be a guest on my show. And
right.
Really, I don't want to retire, but I would love to get to the point that some of my people could take over where I could enjoy this business I love and do some of that stuff. So I've never done it, but I hate to tell you, but I killed my biggest deer, and my barrel wasn't 8 feet from the deer. I was sitting in a pine tree in the middle of a green field with some oaks in it.
Yeah.
And what happened, and there was 2 does right under my pine tree, and I heard something sound like a water buffalo coming through the woods. And I was real young, so really all that blowing and snorting, and I looked over and saw a little old tree that was probably 7 inches in diameter at the bottom. That thing was just rocking them pine trees, and he was rubbing that thing because he had a spread between his 2 inside tines, you know, about 6 inches. And I mean, he was just wearing that tree out, and he was rocking the whole pine. Man, I thought it was a grizzly bear over there the first time. You know, your mind will play tricks on you when you're sitting out in the middle of the field by yourself. You're about 18, and all you ever do is see fields of does, and all of a sudden, you know, it sounded like a grizzly over there shaking something down and snorting and blowing and carrying on.
Right.
And so that deer, I lost him. He got quiet. And the next thing I knew, all I saw, and I'm sitting up there, I had on some Spirit topsiders, no socks, blue jeans, a T-shirt. I had a Marlin 30-30 lever action rifle.
Nice.
No scope, and I was sitting on the limb facing the wrong way. And I looked down there behind me over my right shoulder, and all I saw was just tons of ivory down there. And I said, well, what do you want to do? He was fixing to have him a tea party with that doe. And I'm sitting there to myself, do I do it before or after? And how am I going to turn around? So I ended up reaching above me and grabbing a limb with my left hand. I already had it cocked. So I pulled the hammer back with my right thumb. I laid that 30-30 on the inside of my forearm. I couldn't really see him. And I just leaned over as close as I could get to the back of that deer. I was probably about 6 feet from the center of his shoulder blades.
Wow.
And I leaned over. I wasn't 10 feet up there from the limb of that pine tree. And I leaned over and just laid my hand out like I'm pointing at him, laid that stock on my forearm.
Yep.
And I shot that deer right down between his shoulder blades, and he dropped like a rock. And we skinned him. It went right through his heart. And when I jumped down out of the tree, I was scared he was going to jump on me. I couldn't believe that he was dead. But,
that's crazy.
Everybody told me, they said, oh, you lying. I said, yeah, I knew you wasn't going to believe it, but I'm just telling you, that's what happened. I said, that deer quit making a racket over in that tree line, and it was getting a little dark. The next thing I knew, he was underneath me, going to get him some sugar. And I shot him right between 2 branches, right down through the top of his shoulder, right through his shoulder blades, and just laid the 30-30 out there. So, you know, after that experience, it's, I don't know if I could kill another one with that, and that kind of story. So I just hadn't been a whole lot since then. That's 30 years ago.
That's crazy. That's a good story,
Over
Merrill.
30 years ago. Yeah.
That's a great story. So
But I still got him up there. I got him mounted, and that's the only one I've mounted to this day.
Oh, that's
He's
beautiful.
a big old deer.
What state was that in?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Right down here in the Black Belt.
Very good. So, Merrill, what would the Merrill today tell the Merrill of 30 years ago, knowing what you know now?
Well, the biggest thing I would do is, now that I know how this thing works and how dirty this industry can be, it's a very competitive and dirty industry. I would probably do what I'm doing now. I would start out with smaller blocks, building this thing, and I don't think I've done anything wrong. I've just learned a lot from pursuit days to what I am now. We run into a lot of debt paying for a lot of airtime by trying to buy a 24/7 channel. At the time, before we had people like Bossy Oak on board with us, that was a tremendous asset and the main reason of survival for the pursuit channel, because they had industry ties. Because I go back to the beginning of time, back when Bob Dixon, one of the great guys at the beginning of Mossy Oak, I used to have him as I was a young road salesman out there unload Mossy Oak clothes out of the trunk of his car and put them in stores. And he was a great guy, and we lost him too early to cancer. And but Mossy Oak, really, as Pursuit was progressing, Mossy Oak gave Pursuit the shot in the arm and the sales and the advertising sales revenue to make it through the survival years. So to answer that question, and knowing that, I do two things, what I'm doing now. I'll start out on what I can personally find. You know, they say when you go gambling, you don't bet no more than you can afford to lose.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm doing with the Hunt Channel. You know, what I have in it and what a few people have in it is nothing we can afford to lose. So we can finance our own network and finance our own growth because we don't have that Mossy Oak. And until that comes on, until we have that type partner that has that 30, 40-year establishment in the industry, that can pick up the phones and call in favors and tell that vision with you, that's got the financial muscle to support you. Until we have that, we're not going to jump out there and try to grow. I mean, it's still all about the dollar, still supply and demand. We're not going to try to jump out there and do like I've done in the past. In the past, I would let my temper and my competitiveness get in the way of going after somebody and proving a point. I'm big on proving a point,
Okay.
Somebody told me I couldn't do nothing. Oh, gosh. That was a death wish for me. So I lived with that with Pursuit for 4 or 5 years, that we were going to be closed next week, closed next week, closed next week. So that's the biggest thing. And, really, that just comes with age. We all do that.
Right.
If you're an athlete, you're competitive, and you don't like to lose, and you want to win, then you're going to make aggressive decisions in your finances in your younger age that you won't make when you get a little older.
Right.
And so that's the biggest change. What I'm doing now with Hunt Channel is I'm trying to live within our means and what we can do, and I'm being a little more patient. Patience. I think that's the thing. Be more patient. I'm trying to be more patient with my growth, waiting for this windfall that may happen or may not happen, or this partner that may happen or may not happen. But until it happens, I'm not going to force it. I'm going to be patient with it and be more strategic on my financial growth and financial moves. And that's what we're doing with this digital platform. The digital platform we can afford. When you start buying cable households and digital direct households, that's when you got to have a real financial partner with some real muscle that can generate you some ad sales. Like I was telling somebody in city government here, I'm a county commissioner here, and in my county down here, I'm a county commissioner. I've been in local politics since I was 29. I've been in for probably near 30 years now. And what happens is you have a certain amount of revenue that you have coming in through ad valorem taxes or sales taxes. That's basically all the county 2 avenues of revenue we have. And everything's so much governmental where you can spend your money. Well, when you have somebody coming in asking for some money, some of these entities asking for money or more money, if they're already on the books and already a line item, then you just have to see if your revenues are going to be there to give everybody an increase or them an increase, and those decrease. That's a shuffling of money. But if it's a totally new concept that's not on the books and there's a whole new form of expense, then you've got to have a new form of revenue. And you just take that very conservative, very restrictive opportunity and you say, well, I got to be patient. If this happens, I'll do this. If that happens, I'll do that. If neither happens, we're going to stay slow and steady, just like we're doing now, and continue to do what we can do to help people in this business.
Gotcha.
And to get into this business. So
that makes,
I guess, with a long story short, patience.
Patience.
Patience and not quite as hot-headed as I used to be.
All right. That's a great life lesson for everybody to learn, and that's it's hard to learn unless you've been there. But you've been there, so I certainly can understand.
I've been there. I mean, I have been there from the sales rep, competing against people selling. I've been in the wholesale business in this business, competing against people and learning how they do different marketing schemes. I took a lot of my wholesale buying and learned how to, in the beginning with Rusty and I, how to take products and convert it to cash, because a lot of products are sitting there in inventory. That's money already spent.
Right. And
if manufacturers can use money that's already spent, have them move the rest of that inventory or convert it to sales, that's a good deal. And we run them through wholesalers, which are their customers, and everybody's happy. Their sales go up, their customers happy, and they get an advertising. That's a pretty sweet little package, little credit program we do. So it's all about survival, and we just try to tell everybody some of the things we've learned the hard way. And I've done that because I've sat on so many different sides of the table over a period of 32 years, not just on the TV side. I've been on the selling side. I've been on the retail side. I've sold on the internet sales before, and I've been a wholesale buyer. So I've been on about every side of the table you can be in the outdoor business for 32 years. And now I'm on my second outdoor television network, which I'm proud to say the other one is the largest. And now there's basically 4 out there that people know by name.
Right.
And I've been a part of 2 of them.
That's pretty cool. That's very special, too. I like that. So, Merrill, if there are producers out there that want an opportunity, how would they go about contacting the Hunt Channel to engage in that?
Channel.tv on our website.
Okay.
Contact us, and we'll call you back before the sun sets.
Gotcha. So just go there, find the contact information, phone, email.
That's right. And just shoot us an email. It comes. We're small. We're small. Everybody will see it, and we have people that contact advertisers. We have people that contact the producers, and then we'll get your contact info, and then we'll send you out all the poison, and you pick your own poison. Or if you can't pick out which one you like the best, you call us, and we'll give you the pros and cons of each one. But you know where it's going to start with? Follow the dollar.
Gotcha.
How much credit you got on your Visa card right now, Captain?
Right.
I said, because I don't want to get, I'm not going to be the reason you're not successful. And now even us are learning through this process, through the Hunt Channel. We're learning now that, like I told you, that Achilles heel to this, and it's something that we really didn't think about it when we was at Pursuit. We started out at $19.50 and it grew to $29.50, and now they're charging rates at $3,000, $4,000 a week, and some of the for multiple airs a week and some of the prime time.
Yeah.
The editing didn't come into play. But when your rates are $75 a week, $275 a week, and $695 a week, and editing at the lowest end is $750, we're learning now that there's another little sneaky, a little snake in the grass for these type producers, and that's what's so funny. These people get out there with their GoPros and their cell phone, and they get some amazing footage.
Right.
But the reason there's 10,000 of them out there on YouTube is that's the only place they can put it.
Right.
And it's as is. And somebody might give you a penny here and a nickel here and a nickel there, but that's never going to get you on the big screen on TV until you have it edited and you have a way to capture the footage and get it in an editing system and get it on a TV screen. You're never going to be, quote, a real producer. There's a lot of weekend warriors, a lot of iPhones and Samsung videos. Like I said, it's probably 10,000. But to associate yourself with one of the 4 networks on one of the platforms they are, you're going to have production, you're going to have editing, and you're going to have airtime or distribution.
Right.
That's the 3 things they got to have just to see themselves on TV.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Merrill, it's we're way over our 45 minutes, and I sincerely appreciate you just giving us an insight. I didn't expect it to go that long. But
well, we've learned too. We've learned too. Now this editing thing is my next hurdle to try to work on. The editing thing for my clients is the next thing I got to work on.
Right.
That's our Achilles heel.
That's the key right there. Yep. Well, Merrill, this has been a pleasure, and I can't thank you enough for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast. It's opened my eyes to a lot of different aspects, and I guarantee you that there'll be at least a few phone calls coming your way because people are listening to this show, because there's all kinds of people out there.
Well, I hope we can help somebody, you know.
I do too, and I'm sure you can.
I try to treat our customers the way you want to be treated when you go to a car lot. You know, everybody knows nowadays that when you go to a car lot, you get an inflated price on your trade-in, okay? But it's coming off a full retail price on the vehicle you buy. And everybody's okay with that because the car lot guys making it on one end. That's all we want to do. We want to make our little bit of cut out of it, too, so we can survive and stay here for you.
Right.
We don't want to do what you don't want happen to you when you trade cars. We don't want somebody to go in and give you wholesale for your trade-in and retail for your new item.
Right.
We don't want people selling your car. You know, we want them to make money on one end so they'll be here to service my car. Well, that's kind of the philosophy we take. We try to put a reasonable amount of profit on our airtime stuff so we can still be here to take care of them.
Gotcha. How much longer do you want to do this, Merrill?
Well, I keep telling everybody, my wife asked me after I sold out of Pursuit Channel, what did you do this again for? I said, I don't know. I just love it. I love the business I'm in. I love the outdoor business. You don't make a lot of money, but it's a way of life. It's a way of life I love. So, but I'm going to do it until I don't draw my last breath, because I'm working on other products and and I love the infomercial market and the TV market, and working on some things with some people down in Tampa on bringing some products out and some infomercials. So, listen, I told them retirement wasn't in my system, and I wasn't going to retire. So I'm just going to keep going, and keep training and keep teaching people.
I get that sense, you know? Yeah, I can see that in you.
It's not hard work. It's busy work, but it's not hard work.
Right.
I just want to keep going.
Gotcha.
As long as I got an internet connection and a cell phone, it doesn't really restrict me. I mean, I've been outside petting my dog the whole time. We've been talking. I'm outside on my Bluetooth. My dog and I walking around the yard.
Right.
So I got that. I get internet and cell phone. I can make a living, and I got 2 kids that need it. So I tell everybody I'm working for them now.
There you go. The digital age is here, and you're making the most of it. Yep.
And I want to clear up that a little bit.
Sure.
It's not going to be today or tomorrow. Let me tell you something about this digital age.
Sure.
This is coming from another redneck here in South Alabama. That's going to try to tell you something as honest as he knows how to tell you.
Okay.
It's a transition. Okay. You go to my mom and daddy, and they're still with us, and I'm lucky for that. But they're in their early 80s.
Yep.
Man, they buy cable, okay? They are cable through and through. They want one control to go up and down 75 channel.
Right.
Okay? You're not going to get it. Then you get the generation go down a little bit. They're still cable, do a little bit of internet. Then you come down again. Then somebody can use the dish or direct. And then you get down in the Middle Ages, and they can do the Wi-Fi and the stuff. So it's a graduation thing. And the thing about it is, I tell everybody says, oh, man, you don't get on digital in 5 years, you're going to be left behind. No, that's just 5 more years of the 80 and 85-year-olds that never used to start off with are gone. It's an evolution. And nobody knows where technology is going to be in 5 years anyway.
Right.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So you can't get wrapped up in that, but I promise you can't sit there and just concentrate on cable households, because over the next period of years, 15 years or so, then you could have a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's why we try to balance it out. We're going after that growth, because you can go to the airport now, and there's little kids sitting out there that's 3 years old working a dadgum iPhone and playing a game on an iPhone. They're 3 years old.
Right.
So those guys, when they get 3 more years older, they won't watch anything on TV.
That's right.
But
they won't.
That doesn't mean they're old enough to purchase or make a financial impact in the economy for the outdoor world.
I tell you this, my son and daughter. My son is 7. My daughter is 10. And they no longer, we have cable. They no longer watch cable. They are solely based on my phone, which is an iPhone, and they use their Roku for streaming media, or they use their Xbox, which is their gaming station, but also watch YouTube videos on it or some other channel. That's all they do. They could care less about the cable box, which is what my wife and I tend to tune into.
and that's what I'm saying. That's how that your household, you're educated enough, you can do a little bit, but you're still watching TV.
Right.
You see? So you've got a 40-year window of people that's still watching cable TV.
Yep.
And you still have to remember, if you're a manufacturer and you're using TV advertising to generate revenue, your return on your investment is you want to be in social media for that 25 and 30-year-old, because it says now all the numbers say 28 and down is pretty much all social media, but they do watch stuff with a family every now and then, but most time they watch their stuff on demand.
Right.
After the fact, 2 or 3 shows at a time.
Right.
But the younger generation, 10, 12, 15 down, don't have the pocketbooks to make, but you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket either, because you got that 15-year run that's got no finances, and they got no revenue to put in the economy of the outdoor industry.
Right.
You see, only their mamas and daddies do. So you better keep your advertising. You can advertise them, they go tell mom and daddy, but still you get down there, let's just say first to 10-year-old, that's pretty much, you got younger parents, and that's why that social media works for you a little bit.
Right.
But they still, you got a 0 to 10 factor there. That's no economic impact on industry sales.
Right. And just in my household, my wife and I'm in my mid-40s. My wife will be 40 here soon. And we have this balance between cable, and I usually use it to watch live sports shows. But then the rest of our shows are being digested through the Roku, whether it's Netflix or Amazon. And I get all my outdoor channel stuff through the Hunt Channel, through Pursuit Channel, because I have a Roku, and that's it. That's where I get it. I don't watch that. I don't watch Sportsman's Channel. I don't watch Outdoor Channel for the most part, because
you could get them, and you could get them on the Roku platforms and all, but you pay extra for them.
Right.
You have to pay for them.
Right.
And that's what people want to do. I mean, the outdoor content, there's just millions of hours out there on the internet, and people just have a hard time paying for it. And that's been the secret to the growth of the Pursuit Channel, especially after the Mossy Oak people came in to save them, came in and brought a lot of licensees, advertisers, and a lot of great established programming, and re-edited a lot of films and made some new programming. They've come up with some great original shows. It doesn't get no better than Cuz Strickland and that bunch over at Moss Show when it comes to editing videos or DVDs or programming. The hours, the millions of hours they've got over there. They can edit. Deer Thugs, Turkey Thugs. Some of the shows they've come out with, the Jury Boys, Terry and Art Jury.
Yes.
Big names. And when you get somebody to step in there and catch you as a safety net, like a Mossy Oak, that's why you still hear going strong and the largest out there.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
And that's what we got to do. We got to wait for our time for somebody to step up, like Cox and them did, and see a vision and understand this is what this little channel can be. Because the Outdoor Channel is cutting their programming down, and now we're just a little vulture, and if the things start turning our way, I think some are going to turn our way for a financial windfall as well.
Gotcha.
I think our opportunities are increased. So we're sitting here like a friendly vulture, because we really feel like we want to be like a rescue squad,
Right.
We want to tell somebody, hey, tough luck, but this is going to be a blessing in disguise, because your rates just went from $3,000 a week to $1,000 a week for 2 airs, and one of them's prime time. And that's what you didn't have that left $2,000 a week. You didn't have a prime time.
Right.
You see? And then 10 million more households, cable households later, hopefully, in a year, and we'll make happy campers out of them.
Yep. And your goal is just you're just trying to grow viewers. That's your job.
That's right.
Yep.
We grow viewers. If we grow viewers, that's how everybody makes more money. If we grow viewers, it costs us a little more. We charge them a little more, but our producer can charge 8 people a little more.
Right.
And then they make a little more.
Gotcha.
Follow the dollar, and it's all about supply and demand and return on investment.
Trickle down economics.
It's not complicated.
Right. No, it makes total sense when you put it that way. Now I get it.
And I'll tell you one more thing, too, that I learned the hard way.
Sure.
When you don't have the pocketbooks to pay for 24 hours a day and buy and have to account for every second of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year, you got about 6 hours of the prime time stuff that's profitable. You got 6 hours you can make a little money out of. You got 6 hours you're going to lose a little money out of. and then you got 6 hours you're going to lose your rear end. Well, the theory with only buying the prime time blocks is, and the morning blocks, which we call the breakfast blocks, where people are up and stirring, they're at their favorite barber shop, or they're at their favorite sporting goods store in the morning having coffee, or they're sitting in their house having coffee, watch it, it's around a meal time. It's a good time. That morning is as good as it gets other than prime time, those breakfast blocks, okay? If you only buying blocks of airtime that are like a business model, the 80-20 rule is when 80% of eyeballs watch 20% of the television time.
Yep.
The 80-20 rule, where 20% of the items represent 80% of the sales.
Yep.
You're only buying the good stuff. You don't have to inflate your cost to pay for the bad time. When you got 12 hours costing you a little bit of money and a lot of money, there's only 1 6 hours that can be made up in, and that's prime time. That's the time you sell.
Gotcha.
So somewhere you got to pay for those 24 hours, and the only place to go for that extra revenue is inflated prices, advertising, and producers in prime time.
Gotcha.
Like I said, it's not complicated.
Yep. No,
you can buy 24 hours, you got to pay for them. And I promise you're not making money but in 12 of them.
Yep, that makes
sense. You're minimizing your loss in 1 6, and you're losing your rear end in the last 6. And those losses have to be made up somewhere in that 24-hour day.
Right.
We don't have that problem with the Skyangel partnership we have.
Right.
They already have the airtime, and they have programming and stuff that they sell their own commercials. They've been established for 17 years.
Right.
Okay, so we're just an additional programming to already a debt-free channel and company.
Gotcha.
So I don't have to inflate my primetime prices.
Which channel are you discussing there?
We're on 56 on Dish.
56 on Dish, okay.
56, okay. And then we're on Roku, and we launched Amazon Fire today.
Okay. Fascinating. Well, I'm going to be very interested to see how the Amazon Fire does.
Yeah, well, we should know something tomorrow. We'll be speaking with them again tomorrow, so hopefully they'll give us a number tomorrow, and then we're anxious to see how Roku's done. Roku went up 2 million in 2014, so we're anxious to see their growth through 2015, so we're anxious to see the new numbers there. So we'll know then, so we can upgrade our media kit and that kind of stuff. But maybe you can holler at me in about 30. Maybe holler at me in about 60 days. Maybe we can see what happens after ICAST. Maybe we'll start getting a little movement. Sometimes it will be 120 days out, but there's going to be some people trying to get a hold of their sales reps, these other networks, and it's going to be an anxious period of time. I would say from July to August, there's going to be a lot of people anxious. Going into that 120 for 2016, get to that last 120 days, I think July and August going to be some interesting and some shuffling, not just for us, but pursuit, outdoor, and sportsmen. But, hey, outdoors, 800-pound gorilla, we've always said. And when they move, they'll move. They'll move the industry,
Right.
When they make a move, it all flows down through them, and the Carkeys, they own the top two big boys. And so they'll set the tone of what's going to happen, and they'll pretty much set the rates that the rest of them are played by, and that'll tell us. And as long as you're like us, and we're trying to do what we're trying to do, and our overhead is low, we don't have to double our rates just because everybody else increases.
Right.
I'm still going to stick to my business model. If I get you more eyeballs, I'll charge you a little more money. Okay, that's the bottom line. I'm not going to raise my rates because I can.
Gotcha.
You follow me?
I follow you. Merrill, this is it's been great, and I can't thank you enough. Sir. It's been a pleasure, and an honor to have you on. It's there's so many.
You.
Go ahead.
No, I said, well, thank you.
There's so many people that are going to be tuning into this because this is a topic that you just don't hear every day. But I think everybody wants to hear. It's one of the questions we get a lot, and everybody's like, well, how does it work? And nobody seems to know. But this will be kind of like an entry level. How do you do this thing? So I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, I'll be glad to join the show anytime. I don't mind answering live stuff. Whatever we need to do to help you, I enjoy the opportunity to get it out there and share what little bit I learned. And it has been a pretty good bit over a period of 32 years, and a lot of it's been by School of Hard Knocks too.
Yeah, I will definitely
anybody I can help, avoid my bumps and bruises, I'm all for it. You just kind of let me know, and I'll let you know my travel schedules and
Sure.
when I'm available. If I'm sitting down, these evening calls are great for me.
I'll definitely give you a holler and let you, just pick your brain a little bit more, see what's going on, and definitely I'll touch base with you in about 60 days, find out what's going on with
Sure.
it. We'll do a follow-up show to all the questions that were raised in this show down the road.
Okay.
Follow up.
Sounds
Excellent.
good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Merrill. Well, thank you to Merrill Sport for clearing that up. It was a big question of mine about how it all played out in the outdoor world. It's kind of like the Hollywood scene of the outdoor industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of questions that are now answered there.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And initially, I think when I told Merrill we're going to talk for about an hour, he was taken back a little bit, and then we ended up talking for a lot longer than that. So I think he got it. That we had some good questions, and we've I think it's going to help him progress with his outdoor channel pursuit. And when I mean that, his new channel called the Hunt Channel, which I'm sure people are familiar with, because if you have an Apple set-top box, if you are on the Dish Network, if you have a Roku, you can and have access to the Hunt Channel as we speak right now, and probably even the Pursuit Channel, which he was a part of. So fascinating story, fascinating individual. And we've got to talk to some of the top brass that knows how every single cog wheel turns in the outdoor television industry, and just heard some stuff I didn't even know about. So,
Right. Pretty cool experience.
yes, very cool experience. Next week, Dusty, we have Jake and Nick Miller from O-Town Outdoors. So stay tuned for that show, because they're high energy guys and they're young. And when I think of the 18 to 20-year-olds these days, I don't generally think of Jake and Nick Miller, but they are a strong representation of what I think that generation should be. They're well-spoken, they're smart, they're ambitious, they have the world in front of them, and they have a plan. And I can't think of any other way. I wish I had that kind of plan when I was 20 years old, because I didn't. But they do. And it's I would imagine we're going to see lots and lots of these guys in the next 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. They're kids that you didn't expect what you heard.
Exactly. It's not what I expected. And I just they're just good high energy guys that know how to hunt, quite frankly. And they know how to film it, and they're learning every day. That's part of their whole thing, is just how to learn how to do this stuff and get better at it year in, year out, educating themselves to do that. So, Dusty, do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week this week?
We do have a Chubby Tines tip of the week.
All right, what do you got, brother?
Chubby Tines tip of the week is stand placement.
Okay, tell me more.
Stand placement is one of the most crucial assets to a successful hunt. Go in, do your scouting, and place your stands in the most productive location that you're going to get a kill shot. That's my Chubby Tines tip of the week, Jay.
Awesome, man. Very good. All right, so where can we find you, Dusty, when you're not hanging out here on the airwaves with me?
Facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors, Facebook.com/Chubby Gobbler. You can also get into a little bit of my personal life on Instagram at Chasing Antler. Jay, how can people reach out to you when you're not on the mic?
Awesome, man. Well, the best place that you can find our whole endeavor is over at bigbuckregistry.com. You'll see all of our podcast posts and other posts. If you'd like to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/bigbuckregistry. The Twitter account is twitter.com/bigbuckregistry. You can always pledge your support to the show by going to bigbuckregistry.com/pledge. We can't do it without folks like you. And if you'd like to just straight up donate, it's bigbuckregistry.com/donate. If you have a big buck that you would like to get featured on the Big Buck Registry, you can go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck, and that'll give you access to our all the instructions that you need to submit a deer and get it featured on the Big Buck Facebook page, which has now surpassed over 160,000 followers. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but we're approaching 200,000 downloads all time for the Big Buck podcast, which is a huge milestone for us. Speaking of the show, if you'd like to listen to this show, we are now featuring our own app, both in Google, which is www.bigbuckregistry.com/G app or GAPP, or you can just get the app for your iPhone
at bigbuckregistry.com/APP. And I think, Dusty, that's about it.
Big buck everywhere out.
Big buck. Awesome, man. Well, I'm Jay Scott.
And I'm Dusty Phillips.
This is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. See you next week.
Can't wait.